A very good morning to all. Welcome back to our course on the C programming language. In today's session, I am going to discuss one of the important topics in the C programming language, which is nothing but the pointers. So pointers is a very important topic and this is somewhat complex to think and to write the programs using the pointers. But it is one of the important topic. That is the reason why I have chosen to discuss some important points related to the pointers in C programming language. In today's session, I am going to discuss what actually is a pointer, what is the definition part, that is what I am going to discuss here, and we will see the types of pointers. So at this point we are not going to discuss about the in-depth things related to the types of pointers. I just want to give what types of pointers are available in the C programming language, and later I am going to discuss about the operators that we specially used for these pointers. So we have two types of operators that we specially use for this pointers concept. One is the ampersand symbol, which is called as the address of operator. The second operator which we frequently use in the pointers is the asterisk symbol. We call this as asterisk symbol. This is the ampersand symbol. This asterisk symbol is called as the indirection operator. These two operators we will use most frequently in the pointers concept. We will see at that point of discussion, we will see how we can make use of this ampersand symbol and how we can make use of this indirection operator. And after this, I am going to discuss the declaration part of a pointer. How we are going to declare a pointer? We will be seeing the generalized syntax of how we can declare a pointer, and then we will see some of the examples of how this declaration happens and what happens when we declare a pointer and what value should be initialized to the pointers. All these things we are going to cover under this examples part. So coming to our discussion on what actually these pointers are. The first part. When we want to define a pointer, we say that a pointer is a variable. It is a variable which can hold the address of, this is going to hold, the variable is going to hold the address of another variable. So we know how to declare the variables, and we know what purpose we are making use of these variables. For example, let me take a normal variable. I am discussing about a normal variable where I can declare it as int I. So we say that I is a variable of type integer, and it is capable of storing the integer values. Remember that the normal variables are going to store the values, whereas if you consider the pointer variables, they are going to store or they are going to hold the address of another variable. So this is the difference you should understand between a normal variable and a pointer variable. Very simple point. A normal variable can hold values, whereas a pointer variable can hold the address of another variable. This is the definition part of the pointers, and let us discuss the second point, types of pointers. as we have different types of variables in C programming language, like the integer variable, the floating point variable, the character variable, etc. In a similar fashion, the pointers can be of type integer, the pointers can be of type float, the pointers can be of type character. So we have different types of pointers. Other than this, we also have some specialized pointers like null pointer. We also have the void pointer, something like dangling pointer. All these things we are going to discuss in a short while, maybe in the next video. But right now you just have an idea of what are these types of pointers we have. So we can say that these first three things are the integer pointer or float pointer or character pointer. All these things are something related to the fundamental data types, right? Other than this, that means you may have a doubt that whether we have pointers related to only the fundamental data types. The answer is no. We can have the pointers for the fundamental data types, as well as I'm writing it as FDT, fundamental data types. We can have the pointers for the derived data types like arrays. Arrays can have pointers. Similarly, functions can have pointers. So you can declare a pointer for the functions also. And the third one is the user defined data types, that is the structures and the unions. You can also have pointers to structures as well as unions also. So there is no restriction on what type of pointers can we have. You can have pointers to all the fundamental data types, derived data types, as well as the user defined data types also. As I told that when time comes, that means when we are going to discuss those points, we are definitely going to discuss deep onto these types of pointers. But right now you just remember that we can declare pointers for any data type, whether it is fundamental, derived, or user defined data types. Other than these things, we have null pointer, void pointer, and dangling pointer. And coming to the third part, where we are going to discuss two important operators that we deal with the pointers. The first one is the address of operator, which is represented by an ampersand symbol. We are very much familiar with this ampersand symbol. Why? Because we will make use of this ampersand symbol in the scanf function. Whenever you want to read a value from the user or from the standard input device like the keyboard, you will be making use of this scanf function, which we are very much familiar, and we know that we are going to use a special symbol in the scanf which is called as the ampersand symbol. And the second one is the asterisk symbol. We call it as asterisk. This particular symbol is very much useful to deal with the pointer. So when you want to declare a pointer, you will use this asterisk symbol. Similarly, when you want to get the value of the variable using the pointers, we will make use of the asterisk symbol. So when you want to get the value of a variable by using the pointers that is pointing to that variable, we call that concept as dereferencing. The dereferencing concept, that means you are going to get the value of a variable by using the pointer, that is called as dereferencing. So dereferencing can be done on the pointers by using this asterisk symbol. That is the reason why we can also say that this is not a thumb rule, we are just discussing the important point, right? We can call this asterisk symbol as value at operator. We'll see all these things, right? You just have a brief idea of what is these pointers and types of pointers and different operators that we are going to use here. And the fourth important point what we are going to discuss here is again very important point, that is declaring a pointer. We know how to declare a normal variable. I'm writing here, where we will use the data type followed by a space, and then we'll make use of the identifier like this. The same syntax we will use in the case of pointers also. So the generalized syntax for declaring a pointer variable is you take the data type and you leave some space, white space, and then we will make use of one operator which is called as the asterisk or the indirection operator, and then we will make use of the identifier. So this is the generalized syntax of declaring a pointer. Here it consists of three parts. The first part is the data type. You can specify any data type here, int, float, char, or it can be an array, or it can be a function, something like that. And the second part of the declaration is the use of the indirection operator, and the third part of the declaration is use of an identifier. Since I am saying that this is an identifier, so remember that all the rules that we use for the identifiers in the C programming language will remain as it is for these pointers also. You have to follow all those rules. For example, let me take an example here. If I want to declare an integer pointer, so I have to write it as the data type as int followed by asterisk symbol and followed by some identifier. Let me take the identifier name as p, which stands for pointer. So this is how I am going to declare an integer pointer. Similarly, when I want to declare a character pointer, I should write it as data type as char, and then I have to use the indirection operator, and then I can use the CP, where CP stands for the character pointer. Like that, you can declare any type of pointer by using the indirection operator. So the one common doubt what we really have for declaring these pointers is whether we need to include this indirection operator with this data type or with this identifier. The point you have to understand here is there is no question of embedding this asterisk symbol with the data type or the identifier. Whatever you have, both of them are correct only. For example, I write a pointer declaration like this, int space star p. This is valid. And somebody write like this, int I embed this in with one int asterisk symbol followed by space and then p. So this is also valid. And some people, they try to write like this, int space star space p. This is also valid. So where you are embedding this, or where we are combining this asterisk symbol, whether we are combining with the data type or whether we are combining with the identifier, or we are separating this asterisk symbol from the data type and the identifier, that's not a problem with the C compiler. Anything you can make use of it. So this is a very small topic which I want to discuss in today's session. Let us have a quick recap of what we have discussed in today's session. The first point what we have discussed is regarding the definition of the pointer, where we have discussed that a pointer variable is a variable which can hold the address of another variable. So the normal variables are going to hold the values, whereas the pointer variables, they are going to hold the addresses. And then we have seen the different types of pointers, like integer pointer, character pointer, floating pointer, and null pointer, void pointer, dangling pointer. And we have discussed that pointers not only relate to the fundamental data types, we can also give or declare the pointers for the derived data types such as arrays and functions, and you can also declare the pointers for the user defined data types such as structures and unions. And then we have moved our discussion towards the operators that we use during with these pointers, that is address of operator, which is represented by ampersand symbol, which is used to get the address of a variable, very important operator. We are very familiar with this ampersand symbol, where we make use of this ampersand symbol with the standard input function, that is scanf function. And the second operator what we have is the asterisk symbol, indirection operator or valuate operator, anything you can call it. So this particular asterisk symbol is especially used in two cases. One is to declare the pointers, and the second one is at the time of dereferencing the variables or the pointers. Dereferencing is a very important concept, where you are going to get the value of the variable using the pointers. And finally, we have moved our discussion to declaring a pointer. We have seen the generalized syntax, like which consists of three parts. The first part is the data type, second part is the indirection operator or the asterisk symbol, and the third part is the identifier. And we have seen two examples of declaring a character pointer as well as the integer pointer. And we have seen the common issues that we face, or common doubts that we get while declaring the pointers, that is whether we need to enclose or whether we need to embed this asterisk symbol with the data type or identifier. As I told, that there's no doubt, or there's no point of making this asterisk symbol embedding with the data type or identifier. You can do it in either way, everything is correct only. So this is all about what I want to discuss in the introductory points related to the pointers. Thank you one and all for joining the session.